Okay, YouTubers, this next video is going to pertain to triangulation. All narcissists do this to their victims, and it's a very, very difficult thing to deal with. Um, so, in the beginning, I told you guys that when I met my narcissist, he told me about this girl that was a flight attendant and she was going to be flying out to see him here and there. The sweet butt girl who I kept seeing it flash across this phone. Um, And so after the love bombing, uh, she was calling more and more. It was evident that there was more going on than what he was telling me. And so it's difficult. But so after our love bombing phase, she starts flying out to see him regularly. And I don't know why I dealt with this, but he would always make promises to me like, this is the last time. I'm just going there because I need money. She's not going to keep giving me money if I don't see her. And so I put up with this. And on the nights when he would leave and go meet her at the airport and they would go to a hotel, I couldn't sleep. Um, it was very depressing. It was stressful. I didn't call because I didn't want to risk not getting an answer and it would just make things worse for me. So I just dealt with it. I was very trauma bonded. I was weak, um, and I just dealt with anything because I didn't love myself enough to know that I deserved better. But it was a very harsh thing that was going on in our relationship. Um, I was basically sharing him with her, and he was living with me. But every time she would fly out in town, he would go see her, regardless of how I felt about it. And instead of just running or walking the other way, I just sat there and dealt with it because I felt like at the time dealing with that was better than being alone. And a lot of us do deal with things that are very painful in order not to be alone. Um, but since I've been away from him for a matter of months now, I've realized that being alone is so much better than losing sleep and having your heart stumped on when you don't deserve it and being lied to. Um, so narcissists will triangulate you. Triangle. It's where they add a third party into you guys' relationship. It can be friends, co-workers, another mate, an ex. It could be children, anything. He will also triangulate me by telling me what his friends would say about me. Like, well, this person thinks that you should treat me better because you're just so mean. And and it's like, well, I thought me and this person were cool. Why would they say this about me? you know so they will triangulate you to make you. It's another form of control, really. It really is. It gives them the upper hand in the relationship. And it also is a way to make you see things in their point of view and not have a mind of your own. So, triangulation was one of the most painful parts of that relationship for me. Um, I'm not an extremely sensitive person, kind of sensitive, but I can take some insults. It was the triangulation, I feel like, that really killed me in this relationship. And it's like he would tell me, oh, I'm going to leave her. I'm just using her for her money, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sure he was going over to her, telling her I'm using her for a place to live and I really love you and things like that. You have to expect betrayal if you're going to continue to deal with a narcissist because they will betray you time and time again. Talk about you behind your back, smile in your face. They are extremely phony people, and they will tell lies to you and they'll tell lies to the other person. And it was just really hard. It was also what made me finally leave him, the triangulation, because he just would not leave this girl alone. He just wouldn't. And I just couldn't share a man anymore. No matter how abusive he was, no matter what, it was the sharing him and the triangulation that was the most mentally and emotionally damaging to me. He would compare us to each other. Um, we would have arguments, things of that nature. It was just really, really hard to deal with. And so that's another sign that you're dealing with a narcissist if they triangulate you with other people. They can also triangulate you with your children, like, oh, your mommy doesn't love you as much as I do, or they'll try to one up you by taking the kids to Six Flags when you took them to Kennywood, or things like that. It's always a competition. When you're in a relationship with a narcissist, it's not a team. They look at you as an opponent, and it's really sad. But yeah, the triangulation phase, definitely painful, hard to deal with. He would tell me things that she would say, like, oh, you're falling in love with that dumbass bitch over there because I'm not around. And then he would tell me messed up things about her, and, or tell her messed up things about me. It's just a bunch of backstabbing and two timing, and it's not fair. No one should deal with this. If you are, I'm not judging, but I know that it would be best for you to get out before that destroys you, because it almost destroyed me. It was very painful. I've never dealt with anything like that in my life. I was also, or always, I'm sorry, I was always a tough person. I was always no BS, no tolerance for it, wouldn't take anything. I just reached this lonely, low point in my life. And that's also how you would attract someone like a narcissist, is if you have a low self-esteem, or if you're just not happy, and you're lonely and you just want someone to be there. And then it gets worse when you're dealing with things that you really shouldn't have to deal with in order not to be alone. You put up with a lot of BS. So triangulation is another form of narcissistic abuse and emotional abuse. And no one should have to deal with that. If you are, please try to gather up some strength and get away before you don't have any sanity or strength left. Like I told you guys, I wasn't able to sleep because of this situation. It really messed with my self-esteem. It was just terrible to go through that. So beware of triangulation. Know what it is whenever someone is trying to triangulate you, and get away from them. Thank you. And the next video, we will be talking about another story that I have for you guys coming up. So just look out for that. It's coming in a few. Thanks, guys.